Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here with you for a writer's workshop of
Marvel's The Infinity Gauntlet. We're going to finish it out today.
Yeah.
We are going to finish it.
Where would you like to start, Dalton?
Oh my. You know, you always put this on me. Where would I like to start at it as the not writer of the group?
You're so good at it.
Let's talk about Death. Because I like the character Death.
Oh,
the character Death, well, you know me. But Mistress Death herself.
Yeah.
The choice, and I'm going to say Marvel. I'm not sure who's the artist, who's the author, how that works.
Jim Starlin, I think, is the writer there.
Jim Starlin?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say Marvel. Marvel's choice to not allow Death to speak. I like it.
You like it? Did it come across trite?
No, Death is silent, and because the character of Death is so cold and off-putting and just independent and unmoved, she has to be silent. It's absolutely necessary she does not speak, because she has no reason to speak.
Is she independent, though?
Oh, yes, I think so.
She had to summon Thanos and give him all this power to do what she wanted done.
But once her amusement is through with Thanos and that she sees that he's just going to do whatever, she's no longer moved by him.
Yeah, but that's just women.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just the choice to make Death a woman.
I don't know if that's a Death thing or a woman thing. I think as the female portion of our audience just clicked
there they
off
went, they're gone. But I think it's because she has no allegiance to anyone.
Right.
And her silence just pushes that even more. I'm a fan of it. I think it was a good choice as a writer to make her a silent character.
Along those lines, for me, one thing that stood out, we've mentioned Stephen King's Danse Macabre a lot. Mm-hmm. It seems that Stephen King's entire arsenal of the spooky thing at night is on display here. His entire arsenal of archetypes. You've got Thanos, who is the werewolf with his desire to build a relationship and also to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. Death herself is the ghost. The silent specter. Also, she's kind of dead, not really.
Well,
it's somewhere in the middle, kind of like a ghost.
She's
right?
Death, so.
Right. Nebula is the thing without a name. She's so hideous in appearance that we both fear and feel sorry for her. And Mephistopheles is the values-confusing vampire.
Okay. And, you know, I think we do bring up that archetype often. But it is so prevalent in this. It really is.
Which one?
Your Stephen King's listing of it.
So the entire list
yes,
of
the whole
thing,
the list of archetypes. We do bring it up often, but it is very, very prevalent in this.
It really is. Let's fix this real quick. And each one of them seems to behave strictly by that archetype.
Yes.
And it really, really, really is impressive to look back at King's Danse Macabre and realize, you know, how prescient that was.
And that's the thing, we get a little heat now and then talking about Stephen King so much, but I think from a writer's perspective, again, I think he nailed it. And you can even make the argument for a graphic novel. He nailed it.
Well, not only has Stephen King sold more books than God, he's written more books than the gods.
Yes,
right?
He's just insane.
Speaking of gods.
Speaking of.
There's a round table.
There is a round table discussion in this piece that I think is very apparent, not apparent, I can't think of the word. This shows the time.
Indicative.
Indicative of the times, thank you. This is very indicative of the times. Again, we said this was 80s-ish. We see at this table, Odin has summoned the Sky Fathers, the Sky Daddies, all men.
Yeah.
To sit around a table and discuss how to destroy Thanos.
Right.
Sitting next to each other, we see the American Indian Spirit and Svarog, I'm probably saying that wrong, the Russian. America and Russia, sitting at the table of Sky Daddies, the two superpowers, to just subtly hint at the reader of the time how important this event is.
Right.
So I think that is very overlooked, but I think as a writer's choice for the time, brilliant.
And you hit another thing on the head, another nail on the head there. There are no women at that table. Do you think that gets written today?
No, I think it's different today.
30-ish years later, the very fabric of what can be assumed as authority,
yes,
has changed to the point where I'm betting at least half that table, if this is written today, is female.
I guarantee if this is written today, we see Eden, the Mother Earth spirit.
Right, and one of the reasons I raised that on the writer's review is that I very highly doubt that the people who put the work into this graphic novel even realized that there were no women at that table.
I know. Well, if you look at the time that this was even created, just the 80s alone, so much has changed since then.
Yeah.
These men were writing in the 80s. These men were smoking cigars with other men, sitting around a table, and they're like, let's just draw our buddies. Let's make our buddies. It was Sky Daddies. No, I don't think women are included at that point. Unfortunate, yes. Times have changed. That's great. But for the timepiece, no, this seems very natural to me.
And the reason I raised that is that it does stick out today, though. Right?
It does.
You look at it, and
it's very noticeable today.
Would not have been noticeable back then. So I think that it is very important as a writer to be aware of the norms of your time period that are not necessarily normal.
Yes. Bring this thing full circle. We've talked time and time again, mainly about Hemingway, that you could read this piece at any point in time, 50 years later, next year, and it will still be true. This choice from these writers dated this piece.
Right.
100%.
Right.
And then maybe that's just something because it is more visual. It is a visual aid, the graphic novel, but the piece is dated at that point. Right. Not only do we see America and Russia, which we could still overlook today, but there's no woman at that table.
Right.
So we know this is an older piece. What do you think? I've always regretted asking this question, but how do you feel about nihilism?
I love it.
Yes.
Here's the thing, Dalton. You want to keep poking that bear, but do you remember when we had class and you would go home afterwards to, I don't know, hipster around? What I was doing after that was going to the library and reading.
Yes.
A lot of this reading was on nihilism.
Okay.
So if you want to hear my thoughts on nihilism, check out the reader's review, which dropped earlier this week. I go on for about 8 minutes, 10 minutes maybe?
85 minutes. I'm pretty
Right.
sure it's an intro to the video. Adrian talks about nihilism. We'll see you next time.
It's a thesis, really.
It is a thesis in nihilism. I'm not sure if I understand the term hipster around, but I'll give you this one because I brought nihilism upon myself. In the previous video, the reader's review,
Right.
you mentioned that this is two forms of nihilism. I think the nihilism we are getting here is not post-World War I nihilism.
Why not?
I think it is the more dated version of nihilism.
What do you mean you mean the seminal nihilism?
The seminal nihilism. And I don't think that we should associate nihilism as we know it now with Thanos. Let's murder everything. Let's just kill everything with no point. I don't know if that's the right word. And I know I'm going to start a huge argument with you on this one.
But that's what Thanos was doing, though, wasn't it? Thanos was just murdering.
Thanos was just murdering, yes.
Right. Thanos did not give anyone a chance to get better. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it that post-World War I strain of nihilism.
But see, I think it's more seminal at this point, which was not something we typically associate with nihilism. Thanos is the bomb. He's just taken out everything with no regard.
Right.
So I think it's hard to associate it that way now. And maybe I'm just not, I didn't go to the library every day and just read nihilism and cry
You
myself.
don't know Pisa Rev.
I didn't cry myself to sleep talking about nihilism.
Oh, nihilists don't cry themselves to sleep.
No, that's probably correct.
We cry everyone else to sleep.
We cry That's beautiful, thank you. But I'm not sure if I can call Thanos the Nihilist King.
The Nihilist Supreme.
Was that what it was, the
I
Nihilist
think it was
Supreme?
the Nihilist Supreme.
I don't think I can call him that.
Why not?
Because that's my point. I am not explaining it any further. Okay. I've dug this hole far enough. Next point.
You should really run these things by me beforehand.
No, I like to smack you in the side of the head with any point. You actually have this vein right here that just throbs when I talk. It's amazing.
One thing about Thanos that I thought was a missed opportunity, since we're speaking about this from a writer's perspective, Thanos is all of a sudden handed all of the power in the universe. That is an incredible opportunity to tell your readers something about the character. Instead, he goes straight to business, which I guess can tell you something about the character, but I want to see what he did to that kid that beat him up in the 3rd grade and took his lunch money.
Yeah.
Right? Manifest that guy in front of you. What about the girl that turned you down for prom? Was it death? Right?
No, see, so Thanos is a 1980s businessman. I mean, that's very typical. He's like, all right, we got to get to work. Wall Street, baby. Kill them all.
But I think that is an opportunity that is missed.
Yes.
Because Thanos wanted all of the power in the universe. That seems like a very small person thing to do, right? That seems like it seems like to want all of the power in the universe, you have to be a very, I'm trying to think how to say this, petty.
Okay.
You have to be very petty to want all of the power in the universe. So once a petty person gets all of the power in the universe, how do they spend it?
I mean, I think Thanos is your answer.
Well, but he snapped his fingers and wiped out half of Earth.
Yeah.
Right? There was no Hitleristic.
There was no
tendencies
build-up.
there. Yeah, there was no build-up and there was no payoff.
It was just done.
Done. Gone.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of going both ways on this.
You just want to argue.
I'm just in an argumentative mood today, so I guess I'll just give you this one. You kind of gave me nihilism, so I guess I'll just give you this
nihilism.
one. I took it, though. I'm taking nihilism and I'm running with it.
It will not stand the blow.
Since we're talking about characters, though,
Right.
Adam Warlock, from a writer's perspective, I don't like him.
Why not?
Not one bit.
Okay.
Adam Warlock was resurrected at the beginning of this, in a form, we'll say resurrected, brought back, because he had failed previously.
Okay.
And then at some point, Adam Warlock becomes more powerful than every superhero, every super being, every mutant in the Marvel Universe, and it's just because he's Adam Warlock. It seems like a cop-out to me. It really does. I'm not sure if I buy it.
Well, I think it's an interesting point. But, it plays into another one of my points, is that there must be 20 points of view in this thing.
Yes.
Right? Now, you can do that in such a short story when many of these characters have existed for hundreds of episodes before. Right? Wolverine had been around forever.
Yes.
Captain America, Iron Man, all these characters have been around forever. So you're introducing very few new points of view inside a larger piece. Adam Warlock has to be given some credibility here that you just have to accept.
Okay.
Because you don't have the time to build him up. You've already built up Thanos. You built up Death. You've built up Nebula. You built up all these little things.
And I do understand that there is no major build-up for Adam Warlock. However, it just feels like there was a lapse in creativity with him.
So I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel that way because he's just introduced as this powerful being? Or do you feel that way because he's introduced as this being that's more powerful than all these other beings, but he still takes those dice and rolls them?
See, I don't think it's that. I think what it is he's failed before. So he's clearly not this all-powerful being that he somehow becomes with no change. Like, I feel like there's just a step in the Adam Warlock process that we were missing as writers, as readers, to say, this is what he's done different.
He doesn't have an arc.
He doesn't have an arc. This is what is changing him. This is what makes him the all-powerful.
That's an interesting point. I had not considered that.
And that's really drove me with this one, that character specifically. And I think that really rolls into my final point I want to make, is I wanted more advanced writing out of this. These are not the golden age, happy-go-lucky, let's punch Hitler superheroes.
Right.
These are grittier. These are 80s. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're relatable characters. But the writing still seems to feel a little golden age to me. It's a little cartoonish. I know it's hard to achieve with graphic novels, but it's been done. It's been done in this era.
But who is it cartoonish coming from?
Maybe it's cartoonish because I'm reading it for the first time in 2016.
Right, but were these cartoonish lines spoken by Cyclops, by Captain America? Or were they from the Hulk? Were they from Wolverine? I will say that I think, like you mentioned the very famous comic book cover where Captain America is punching out Adolf Hitler, right?
Absolutely.
Thanos speaks in that very grandiose type of style that you think someone is milk and cookies as Captain America should be fighting.
Yes.
Right? So I'll grant you that. From most of the characters, it does feel throttled back, especially when compared to other comic books by Alan Moore at the time. I mean, the 80s were Alan Moore, except for, obviously, this.
And I think it'll be interesting how they actually end up, I'm going completely off writer's topic, how they portray Thanos on film.
Well, and see, that's one of the things that stuck out to me with Guardians of the Galaxy was that we mentioned already the sexism that's inherent in something that was written a little bit earlier. What about the sexism in Guardians of the Galaxy where the supreme insult that Thanos paid to anyone was calling them boy?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that might, I don't know that was a tip to the cap to this, but boy, I have to hope so.
And it seems like we keep pushing more modern interpretations on these classic characters. Your Captain America voice, spot on, but that's not the Captain America we get now.
Right.
We've gone so far that Batman is just Batman.
Right.
Thanos just might be like a low-line bass track. Like, he might be completely inaudible. So
Just TV static.
Just TV static. Besides that, though, that's what I think I really needed more from this. Heavier writing, that arc with Adam Warlock, more literary writing.
The last point that I have, strictly because this is the writer's workshop of this, one thing I like to do with graphic novels, just sort of as practice, is to open them up, flip them to any panel, point at it, take it in, close your eyes and digest it, close the graphic novel, and try to put that panel into words. And see how the different mediums influence things. Because a lot of the things, when you're reading and when you're writing, a lot of that is focused on moving parts, right? Whether it is internal dialogue, whether it is something external happening, it's focused on the things which are flowing. A lot of the things that stand out when you look at a graphic novel are the still images.
Yes.
Right? And not just
The round table. That was the thing that stuck out to me.
And not just because they're all still images, but because, like, there's a scene in here where Thanos crumples Wolverine, leaves him on the ground.
Yes.
He's walking away, and he is in motion, but the only thing you can look at in that panel is Wolverine crumpled on the ground right behind Iron Man's severed head.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking at the still parts despite the fact that there is a moving element. And that is very hard to do in writing. And it's something that is it stretches you. It makes you work to try to pull that off, to try to shift the focus of a written scene from the moving to the still without making the still the moving.
Well, look at Mister's death.
Right.
How do you write that character without the visual element?
Very few words.
And very few words, and keep her interesting.
Pretty Hemingway-esque.
Hemingway-esque. I think the most interesting point about this is, you'll hear writing tips online every now and then. This is actually what you do for fun. I mean, I'm pretty guaranteeing that you've probably done this within the last month.
I told you, Dalton, I am a monk.
Yeah, this is what you do.
This is what I do.
This is real life writing exercise. This is used in practice. This is not just us pushing something we haven't done.
I don't know why you feel compelled to make fun of me on a video-by-video basis.
It's the only thing that gives me pleasure in life.
Well,
anymore. It's wonderful.
There must be very few things to derive pleasure from in a hipster's life.
It's once a day I get this little jab at you, and the worst part is, although I can take the jab, you know it's true, so you can't do nothing about it. Anyway, let us know what you thought about Marvel's The Infinity Gauntlet from a writer's perspective.
Are there any exercises that you use from time to time to help you stretch your writerhood?
Would you like to hear more about what Adrian does in his free time?
I don't like you.
I know you don't.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching another episode of Strip Cover Lit. It is part of our goal to bring you literature. Be that from the writer's perspective, the reader's perspective, be it from film, books, poetry, no matter what. That's part of our goal here.
The best of literature and writing almost every day of the week.
Right. So if you noticed something here that brought value to your writer's life, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button.
That really is what pushes us. I mean, we wake up every day, we're like, hey, how many people are actually following? How many people are watching? What can we do here? So make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Join us every week, actually. Monday, we'll start your week off with a 6 list, get you back into your literary week. Tuesday, we'll hit you with our reader's review. Book review, pretty simple, easy, straightforward. We'll go back into another 6 list on Wednesday. Thursday, we do a little bit of something fun. We'll do challenges, we'll do tags,
maybe
book hauls.
Maybe a makeup challenge.
A makeup challenge. We'll see what's coming. Friday, we'll hit you with a writer's quote of the week, get you through the weekend, make you think. Saturday, we'll hit a writer's workshop of the same book that we covered in the reader's review. And Sunday, we'll try to get our normal lives back in order to come right back on Monday.
So make sure not only that you hit the subscribe button, but that you follow us on Twitter at StripCoverLit, at StripCover.
At StripCover on Twitter. Because on Facebook, we're at StripCoverLit.
And on Instagram, we are...
On Instagram, we are StripCoverLit.
I don't have the internet.
I know you don't. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys, and we'll see you next time.